So today's video is going to be a part 2 to my vintage makeup video. I was gonna say series, but this is not a series, it's probably the last video. But I recently uploaded a video using a full face of vintage makeup that you can still buy today. I will link that video down below. And today we're gonna do something kind of similar. I'm still gonna be doing a full face of makeup, but we're also gonna talk about like the history of makeup, like the first people to make like bronzers and stuff like that. Just a little makeup history lesson. And I'm really excited. I loved researching all of this stuff. So we are gonna dive right in. I don't have that many things to talk about, but some interesting stuff to discuss nonetheless. Also, I wanted to mention, this is super random because this is not a vintage product or anything like that, but a lot of you guys were telling me to check out Besame Cosmetics, which I have heard of this brand in the past, and I've actually tried a few of their products. I believe they used to be sold at Sephora, and I remember testing out their lip liners, but since in my vintage makeup video I was talking about cake mascara and how Maybelline launched like the first cake mascara, a lot of you guys were saying that Besame had their own cake mascara, which is super interesting. I had to pick it up. And then I also picked up their cream rouge, one of them. This is one of their blushes. They come in this like beautiful vintage packaging. And then I got one of their classic lipsticks. So I kind of want to show you guys these products first because they're definitely inspired by old school makeup, and it just like tickles my little soul. I love this kind of stuff. And look how beautiful this is. It's so interesting. Look at this cake mascara. So you have your packaging, you have your little brush inside. I have not used it yet. I'm gonna try it for the first time with you guys. And then you have like the mascara in this little block. It has like this little paper. It's your mascara, folks. And then you just get your new brush and you like rub it in and apply your mascara like that. Obviously you have to like wet this product. You don't use it dry, but you can actually use it in many ways. So you can use it as mascara, you can use it as eyeliner, and they even say you can use it in your brows. This is pretty deep to use in your brows, but I'm sure back in the day, that was the thing. I'm sure. But yeah, I'm gonna be using this today as my mascara and a little bit of eyeliner as well. It is water activated, like I said. So it says it's buildable and it doesn't get clumpy or crusty, so we shall see. And basically all you have to do is just like clean your brush when you're done and then throw it back in here and you've got your vintage mascara. Not gonna lie, I prefer new age mascara. Definitely a lot easier. But this just screams romance. Oh my God. And then look how stunning their cream rouge is. I got mine in apricot. And this packaging is so incredibly beautiful. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Is this like 1935 or what? I don't know. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. I hope the formula is good. I'm not gonna be testing this out with you guys today because I have another blush I wanna wear, but I just had to show you because it is stunning. And then of course I got one of their lipsticks and I had to get Red Velvet because what's more classic than red? And this is inspired by 1946. So all of their like lipsticks have like a different year depending on like the color and what was really popular around that time. Red Velvet just, mine got messed up. Mine got squeeched. I was gonna say Red Velvet just screams 1946 and it still does. It's such a beautiful red. We'll just put the cap back on there. And yeah, I just wanted to show you these products because all of their makeup is really vintage inspired. And if you haven't checked out Besame Cosmetics, you definitely have to if you're into that. And now I'm gonna go in with some foundation. So when I was originally researching for this video, I really wanted to go to like the very beginning, like who invented foundation? And when I was doing research, I was reading about how like back in the day, people used to use grease paint, like in theater, like flesh-colored grease paint on their face so they can conceal this area from where their wig starts and like their forehead ends. And so it kind of started there, but when you go back to like beauty brands, technically, MaxFactor was the original brand that came out with foundation, which if you don't know who MaxFactor is, after doing all of this research, holy crap, it was a big name in the beauty space and he totally changed the game. And he kind of like almost invented makeup in 1920 when he started noticing like people's faces looked a little bit red and kind of like blue and just like not perfected, like on film and stuff. So he created the first ever foundation and it was called pancake makeup, which if you Google now, like MaxFactor pancake makeup, it just looks like cream foundation. I'll put up a picture, but it just looks like cream foundation in like a little compact. And thinking of now, like pancake makeup, it actually doesn't sound too appealing. Like, I don't know if I want to wear foundation on my face. It's like pancake foundation, you know? But the name is really interesting. I kind of like it at the same time. And this was pretty much the first foundation and powder in one. And it wasn't like that that oily grease paint that people were using. It was natural and flawless, and it covered blemishes, and it worked really well, but yet it still felt very, very lightweight. And so in 1940, it was actually the most successful cosmetic launch of that time, which is insane. And it just took off. And they said like 1 in every 3 women had MaxFactor's Pancake foundation. And so when I went on the hunt for this Pancake makeup, I know it's discontinued and I wasn't gonna be able to get it, but I found MaxFactor Panstik. Not the same, but almost. And so I thought, you know, let's give it a go. I'm gonna use this. It's kind of like their little version of their original Pancake makeup. It just comes in this little stick. Although I don't think this is my perfect color, so I am gonna be cheating today. I'm gonna be mixing it in with my Makeup Forever, what is this called? Genius palette? I don't know what it's called, but I love this thing. It has your foundations, your concealers, your blushes, your bronzer. And so I'm gonna be mixing a little bit of my foundation shade with this, because this seems a little bit like sickly for me. I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna take good old MaxFactor Panstik and just, oh, nice. Rub it on my face. It smells vintage, you know what I mean? Like that classic powdery rose scent. Gotta love it. Then taking a little bit of my Makeup Forever, applying that on top to mix it in, because it's a little bit more yellow, not as ghostly, and I'm gonna mix that all together. I didn't apply too much of the Makeup Forever foundation. I can't get over the scent. Cannot get over the scent. All right, all right, all right. Looking good, looking flawless, looking pancakey, and I love it. Okay, so when it came to concealer, when I was researching about concealer, it was kind of hard to really determine like who exactly invented concealer, because it's kind of like foundation in the sense where it was kind of discovered around the 20s and 30s, where women were trying to like hide their blemishes. So I don't have like a specific concealer to talk about today, but I just have to talk about the ads or like the campaign images from back then, like the befores and after of wearing concealer. I'm gonna put some of these up for you so you guys can laugh along with me, but what a time to be alive, you know? All these pictures were always so unbelievable and outrageous. Like, look at this one. What are those dark circles? She looks like she got punched in the face twice. On top of that photo, it said model sheds 10 years in 10 seconds with a little picture of the little stick concealer, which was very popular back in the day in the 1950s. And again, shout out to freaking MaxFactor for changing the game always, because he came out with this little erase stick, which we've seen that kind of concealer time and time again at this point from CoverGirl and Revlon and Neutrogena and brands like that. But it was this tiny little, like, looked like a little bullet. It was like shaped like this. You guys have seen them. Those little like corrector concealers, they're everywhere. And it was called Erase by MaxFactor. By the way, I'm gonna throw on some regular concealer right now. I'm using Il Makiage Fucking Flawless. It's my favorite. But yeah, like I was saying, the Erase stick by MaxFactor was promoted as the cover-up stick to use before your makeup. So you added it to all your blemishes and then you would apply your foundation on top, which I mean, a lot of people do today, but sometimes people do it the other way, foundation first and then covering the blemishes. But yeah, that was also a really, really huge launch for MaxFactor, and concealer like really took off, you know? And that was 1953, by the way, but like I said, there were a bunch of other brands that were kind of doing similar things. So it was kind of hard to like nail it down, but there was the Ayer Magic concealer that was also popular in the 50s, and also the Charles Antle touch-up stick. Not sure who Charles Antle is, but that was a popular concealer stick. Let's try out this cake mascara really quick. So I just applied some water to it, and I'm just like mixing it in. Interesting. It's creating like a little bit of a thickness. Okay. Oh, I need to do eyeliner with it. Hold on, hold on. Let's see, I'm just gonna take some off the brush. I'm extremely jittery today, so please excuse my shaking. It's not a good day for eyeliner for me. Oops. This is actually really nice though, because I feel like I could smudge this. I like that. Stop. That's actually such a pretty black smoky liner that you can smudge really easily. I love. Okay, so now I'm gonna try on the mascara I'm not gonna put on any eyeshadow or anything like that. But if you're curious, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys know, eyeshadow has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And people first started to emphasize their eyes, like back in ancient Egypt. I think that's where it first started. Egyptians were using kohl to like really make their eyes stand out with these like really beautiful designs. Oh my God, I'm like seriously fascinated by like Egyptian culture and how beautiful they are. And then eventually people started creating eyeshadows with like dried up flowers, crushed minerals, and things like that to create powder eyeshadow. And powder eyeshadow has been extremely popular since like the 1920s, where it really took off. But we can date back, like, you know, those beautiful eye looks back to ancient Egypt. Okay, so I just re-wet this a bit and I'm going to start applying this to my lashes. I have curled my lashes a bit. I can't imagine ever using this in my brows, unless I had like really black hair, but it's a little small, so hard to like really maneuver and get up in there because this brush is so tiny, but it's doing the job. It definitely gives you more of a spidery lash look since this brush doesn't comb your lashes like each individual lash, you know? It's a bit of a thicker brush. But they did say you could build this formula up because like I said, it's water-based, so it's quite buildable. I just hope it's not very smudgy. It's giving me a it's not gonna last very long on your bottom lashes vibe, if you know what I mean. Because honestly, that like blended so well as my eyeliner. Like I love it as an eyeliner. I don't know about a mascara. It's just so hard to grab. Oh shit. I'll fix that later. All right. I keep stabbing myself with this brush. Not bad. Not bad for a messy gal like me. Okay, so let's move on to one of my favorite categories of makeup, which is bronzer. And I was actually so surprised by this when I went to research this. I actually had this product already, but when I went to look up like who invented bronzer, who really changed the game with bronzer, it was none other than Guerlain, which I'm sure you guys have heard of, the super uber famous Guerlain Terracotta bronzer for years and years and years. It was actually the first freaking bronzer to exist. In fact, Guerlain is another one of those brands that literally changed the game, like kind of like MaxFactor did. They have been around since 1828. 1828. 18. Not 19, 18. And they started off, by the way, making like perfumes. They're a French perfume brand. And not only did they create the first ever bronzer, but they actually created the first ever lipstick. Like they invented lipstick in 1870. 1870. But we're talking about bronzer right now. So the Guerlain, the super famous Guerlain Terracotta bronzer actually launched in 1984. It actually says it on the back of your compact when you buy this bronzer. And it has been changing the game for the last like 38 years. Is that the right math? It's the most famous like first ever bronzer. And another thing about this bronzer that makes it so special is their scent. Guerlain is huge for their scents, as you know. So they really, oh my God, it smells beautiful. And actually the way that it smelled played a huge role in its popularity. It says it has notes of ylang-ylang, orange flower, warm tonka bean, and vanilla. It smells really great. And yeah, they say that they sell one of these bronzers literally every 30 seconds since 1984. And this bronzer was so popular and changed the game so much that it wasn't until 17 years later, that another bronzer was getting the hype that this one was, and it was Benefit's Hoola bronzer, which is really exciting to know as well, because Benefit has been around for like a trillion years as well. And when Benefit Hoola launched their bronzer 17 years later, it got a ton of hype as well. But this was number one for a long time. And it really is such a nice bronzer. It's not one that I use that often, honestly, but I will always keep it in my collection. It's just so classic. I didn't know how classic it was, but so classic. And I love this packaging. So beautiful. It's kind of funny to think about no one bronzing their skin in the 70s. I don't know why. All right, now that we're nice and Teracotta, we can go in with some blush. And I actually really loved learning about blush since I've recently fallen in love with blush even more. And just like eyeshadow and defining the eyes, the ancient Egyptians have been using blush for years and years and years and years and years. They were like the real influencers in makeup, the ancient Egyptians. But if we fast forward a little bit on the timeline, then we would be discovering the powder blush from Bourjois. Now, I'm sure if you guys have been watching YouTube for a very long time, you guys have already heard of this brand. Bourjois is a French brand, and I think you can still get it like at the drugstore in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. You can get Bourjois like on Amazon and stuff like that. I used to be obsessed with the Bourjois Healthy Mix foundation. Do you remember? No, it was the Bourjois Healthy Mix serum. The serum. That was like huge on YouTube like in 2014. Huge. And it was my go-to. Bourjois is a really great brand. They have that really famous like chocolate bronzer that everybody was using back in the day. And yeah, you guys know Bourjois. But I actually purchased one of their little blushes, and it's so cute because it says depuis, I don't know what that word is, but since, I'm assuming, I don't know, 1863. Bourjois invented powder blush, pretty much, in 1863. Apparently, Alexander Napoleon Bourjois was unimpressed by like the greasy face paint and the greasy blushes and like theater makeup, and so he wanted to create a lightweight, more powdery type of blush, and that was 1863, but it really took off in 1879. God, that was a long time ago. And their blushers became widely available to the public, and now like what? Like 200 years later, people are still using their blush? That's not the right math. I'm actually gonna insert a photo of an old Bourjois blush from back in the day, and it's so similar to the Besame Cosmetics blushes. They were truly inspired by vintage makeup, which is so exciting because look how cool this blush is. But yeah, I'm just gonna take a little bit of this one. It's called Frosted Rose. It also has the name in French. I'm not even going to try to say that. And just pop that on the cheeks. I really love this shade. It's very soft, but so sweet. And it has that, you know, 1863 scent, if you know what I mean. We love her though. We love her. Okay, so as a lot of you guys may know, highlighting didn't really become huge until very recently, with all things considered. Like, when we're talking about the history of makeup, highlighting is kind of a new concept. But back in the day, like in the 1940s and the 1950s, people used to use Vaseline to kind of highlight the cheekbones. Makeup artists were using Vaseline like on Marilyn Monroe's cheekbones to kind of bring light to her cheeks. But they weren't really using like pearly pigments kind of like we do now. In fact, they say that MAC Strobe Cream was kind of like the first initial like highlighting product for your face that actually had like a pearly reflect finish, which they say that Strobe Cream was kind of way ahead of its time when you think about it, because like I said, highlighters didn't become like super popular till years later. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and skip highlight for today. All right, let's talk lips. So as I mentioned earlier, Guerlain was actually the first ever brand to launch lipstick, and the lipstick was actually made of deer tallow, beeswax, and castor oil, which was then wrapped in silk paper. Now let me be clear, I specifically mean like lipstick, like an actual bullet lipstick, a traditional, you know, modern day lipstick, because like I said, people have been applying lipsticks for centuries and centuries and centuries. I believe ancient Sumerians, I don't think I'm saying that right, but I believe they kind of like started that way back when. But we're talking like, you know, modern day makeup, traditional bullet lipsticks. Guerlain really changed the game with that. Actually, fun fact, the idea came to him like to create like a lipstick because he was really inspired by candles, and the fact that like a candle was like a perfectly like waxed stick. So he made this lipstick kind of using like scented pink candle wax, and he put it in this like mechanism that you could like push it out, like, you know, like a lipstick. And since then there have been a ton of brands to come out with their versions of lipsticks, and some that are still available till this day. I actually don't have any Guerlain lipsticks to like put on today, but I do want to talk about Revlon lipsticks because we spoke about them in my last vintage video, and this whole pink in the afternoon thing is kind of what inspired me to do this video. So as you guys know, Revlon has been around since the 30s, I believe 1932, and they've launched a few lipsticks that you can still get till this day. One of them is actually one that I've had in my collection for so long. It's one that I wore so much like 10 years ago. I used to wear this lipstick every single day to work. This is called Stormy Pink. Look how much I've used of it, okay? I used to wear this every day to work. I used to put on my mascara and just like tap this on my lips like this, which is probably why I didn't use that much and I used it every single day. I used to just do this, just to give myself a slight color, my mascara, and boom. That's what I wore to work. And according to Google, Revlon launched this lipstick in 1950. 1950, and it's still around, which is insane. Another one that's been around for a really, really long time is called Fire and Ice. I mentioned Cherries in the Snow in my last video, which that lipstick came out in 1953, and this one in Fire and Ice came out the year before in 1952. And this is personally my kind of red. Cherries in the Snow is a little bit too pink for me. This is the kind of red I really, really love. It's got that fiery like orange vibe to it. It's so, so stunning. I think I'm gonna wear this one today. I just have to talk about Pink in the Afternoon really quick because a lot of you guys in my last video were telling me like you need to go check out Revlon Pink in the Afternoon. It's the exact pink that Audrey Hepburn was wearing in Breakfast at Tiffany's, and I like literally lost my freaking mind. But then when I went to really research about it, it's actually not the lipstick. It's actually not the lipstick that Audrey Hepburn wears in Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's kind of impossible because this lipstick, Pink in the Afternoon, didn't launch until 1983. The movie Breakfast at Tiffany's came out in 1961. So it's quite impossible that this is the same lipstick she's wearing, although it does look very, very similar. A lot of people compare it to that clip of her like putting on the lipstick in the cab. That might be a Revlon lipstick for sure, but it's definitely not Pink in the Afternoon. However, there is a campaign of Audrey Hepburn wearing Pink in the Afternoon in 1988. I'm actually gonna put a picture of it right here. She's wearing this lipstick and it looks really, really lovely. So it is a little bit different than the one that she's wearing in the cab. That one is a little bit more corally, it seems, but this is still such a beautiful, stunning lipstick. Really gorgeous pink, and it's still around and you can still get it today. And even though it's not the Breakfast at Tiffany's lipstick, it's still an Audrey Hepburn lipstick, which she also wore Fire and Ice in a really beautiful campaign with Revlon in 1957. And she's actually wearing this lipstick in her movie around that time, which the movie is called Funny Face. I actually haven't seen that Audrey Hepburn movie. Probably the only one I haven't seen. But yeah, she wore Fire and Ice, which is pretty awesome. Marilyn Monroe changed the way we see red lipstick like forever. And MaxFactor used to use a lot of his products on Marilyn Monroe, and he actually created like a whole Marilyn Monroe like red range. This one is actually called Marilyn, inspired by the ruby red lipstick that she used to wear back in the day from MaxFactor. Did I explain that right? MaxFactor had a shade called ruby red. He used to use it on her all the time, and then he created his own like version of it called Marilyn, which is this one, and it's very, very beautiful, a classic red. And they're actually the ones that invented lip gloss. Let's talk about lip gloss for a second. So lipstick was around for a very long time, and then MaxFactor decided he wanted to create a product that made the lips look really, really shiny, especially like for films, like on screen. And so like the first ever like commercially launched lip gloss was in 1932 by MaxFactor, and they were called their X-rated lip glosses, which were sold up until 2003, which is not that long ago. So seriously, shout out to MaxFactor, bro. Okay, really quickly, I am gonna apply my Fire and Ice lipstick, but I'm gonna throw on my Essence 8-hour lip liner in You and Me Ship. Interesting. This isn't vintage, but it's red. All right, let's Fire and Ice it up, baby. I love this color. Okay guys, I think that's it. I really enjoy how this look turned out. It's very simple, just a bold red lip and a little bit of mascara and a little bit of blush, and I'm very into it. I love this shade so much. Such an iconic lipstick. I really do love all things vintage. I had so much fun filming this video. Also, speaking of vintage, I've had this tank top since I was a freshman in high school, and before that it was my sister's for like a couple of years. So how old is this tank top? Let's see, I was a freshman in 2007. This tank top is over 15 years old. It's almost 20 years old. So I thought I'd wear my vintage tank that I cannot get rid of, like no matter how many holes. I mean, it's still going strong, and it's from Forever 21, which those things don't last much. 15 years, baby. I'll never get rid of it. Anyway, guys, yeah, that was this video. That was that, yeah. I hope you enjoyed kind of going through some makeup history with me. It was really fun learning about like the invention of bronzer and just makeup in general. It was really fun to research. I hope you liked this video. Again, take everything with a grain of salt. This is information that I gathered on the internet, okay? I just went off of what the internet told me. So I'm just relaying the message to you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's any other video kind of similar to this that you would want me to do. Leave me any of your interesting, fun ideas in the comments below, and I'm open to trying new things. But yeah, that completes this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.